power of numbers, even of the weak races. Learning from your enemy, hone yourself, and win the grounds. Moreover, he tells to not misjudge where to direct that fighting spirit inside. He calls out to all demon kings to unite their people. However, he figured out that without a cause, no demon race would become united, so he must invade and dominate. To fight for the bloodshed of the enemy across the world helps forgetting the conflicts between the fellow brethren of your community. Otherwise, he emphasizes that our race shall once again lose civilization to other races. Emphasizing more on unity, he asked to force them to be civilized and united, rather than walking over to being barbarians. Shedding the light on his last words, Jolbages says that in short, if they do not find enemies to keep fighting with, they will start killing their own brethren. Wrath boils down his face when he figures that this is the befitting end to these ridiculous murderers. Just for this reason, he thinks that they killed my homeland, including everyone. Just to be united and become civilized, they are killing people over people. Sophia is pleased to see him complete this book. She asks how it was, something written by the first king. Did it turn out to be a literal masterpiece? As he tries to control his rage and not shove Sophia's face down a drain, he replies that it shook his soul. But then he looks at her, smiling, and replies that it was very informative to read, and I was speaking the truth. Finally, I learned some secrets of their world. Though as I thought they would be ugly, it turns out they are madly unjust and pathetic as well. Although he looks at the book, he realizes that aside from all the rage exploding inside him, he surprisingly reads it with a calm mind. The first reason he has found is that humanity won't be destroyed that easily, while I'm waiting for my growth. He recalls back that thanks to the Demon King's evil tricks against the Pan-Human Alliance, his army was continually gaining on us little by little every day. But looking at the statistics, on the contrary, invasion becomes slower and slower with time. To them, this was sort of uncharacteristically strange for everyone, and careful advance was eerie to them, to find their true intention in attacking them. The Humanities Alliance had to hold a gazillions of military meetings just to figure this situation out. However, now the reason is all clarified, but what happens to them after the invasion ends? Thinking it over and over, Jolbages comes to the answer that if they eliminated all the enemies, the only one in danger would be the Demon King's army. At the same time, this would enrage a civil war inside. Sitting down, holding his chin, he understands that in the last 5 years, the army did not seem to make any progress. Rather, it looks like they sluggishly slowed down a lot, although he thinks that he cannot waste his precious time. Still, he is glad to know that he still has a grace period. While that's done, let's move on to the second reason, which is the existence of the Dark Portal. The Dark Portal happens to be the center of the demon army's source of strength. It is the source of all evils, including the large number of devils, which promotes and boosts the strength of the Demon King's army. He asks Sophia if she came from the Dark Portal, to which she replies yes, she did. Thinking about the Dark Portal, she explains that if he thinks about the dimensional hole from the devil's side, he cannot figure out where it will connect to. She then thinks that maybe it was a portal originally that led to nowhere. Further ahead, she mentions that devils like hers cannot enter this world by themselves or alone. Therefore, they require an existence to connect them from a portal to the world. So she put it this way, each time a devil comes out, a demon has to accompany it to come to this side. At that moment, making up his mind, he decides what he will do next. He finally plans his strategy in which he has to do something about his spear and drive the wedge into it to destroy the Dark Portal. Eventually, the fragile unity of the demon's race will cease to exist. With that strategy, there is still hope for the Pan-Human Alliance, and they will have a chance of winning. However, Jolbages is still not so sure how he will carry this mission alone and reach that dimensional hole. To his belief, this might be more gruesome than the Demon King's army. Understanding that he was bestowed with the miracle of being born as a demon, he must do it. The first Demon King Logias, Lord Jolbages, understands his thoughts now. Therefore, he will take his race to hell and ruin their hopes. He strongly believes in plunging the demon race and their dark clan into the darkest ages where they can live like barbarians and cavemen again. Jolbages swears to make the demons even more miserable and pathetic than the beasts. He declares that he will degrade this kingdom until he destroys it completely. After that, once he is done, he will sit down to write his autobiography about how he overcame the longest war of the Demon King's army of his humans. Even he picked out the name of this book as well, which is the Chronicle of the Demon Kingdom Destroyer. Speaking of which, everyone will enjoy being back in the village, and happiness will break out once again, where kids like Alec and Claire live in peace with others. Soon, it will be time for Lord Jolbages to enter the Devil's world. Sophia, in her own thoughts, is proud to see her young master so deeply involved in learning today. While he gives an attitude, Sophia reminds him that due to his horns growing, his magic power has gotten very strong. Furthermore, she adds that when the first Prince Iogeus turned 8 years old, he went inside the devil world. Through the dark portal for the first time, he contracted a devil there. But though she slides her idea of him doing that at age 5, the record will be broken by a very large margin and Madame Plady will be pleased. She thinks how she will react to this news, and she is sure she is going to allow it to happen. As the words circled in his head, he remembers his mother saying specifically to not lose from the first prince. Sophia wonders what kind of demon will her lord make the contract with. Furthermore, she is looking forward to that day. He is worried about that. A former hero contracting with the devil is a bit much. In order to defeat the Demon King and destroy his kingdom, he is ready to face all the odds, even if one of them is to contract with the devil. Finally, his time comes when Plady asks him to go to the demon world. Before entering the demon palace, he must find a befitting soul of the devil. Shocking to see, it was decided immediately the next day. He did not expect this to happen. Somewhere in the corner of a building, a girl with horns is bored to be free. She sighs in her lonely way, thinking at this rate, she will grow older just like this. In this world of horror, the demons of the Dark Clan are led by the Demon King, Golgius Olgi. So the story proceeds like this. Demons, they are murderers that repeatedly wage war and invade other lands of other races. In order to stay united, they kill other races and save themselves from internal conflicts between them. A boy named Alexander, also known as Alec, someone who was born in the normal village of Tancred, with facing all the sorrows of his life, losing everything when the Demon King's army takes over his land. He found solace in swearing to take vengeance for what he lost in this precious war of power. A huge anti-demon army rose from the ground, transcending races and nations were formed. As of the hero of the Humanities Alliance, he challenged the Demon King and died a horrible death. To my luck and hunger for revenge, he should have lost his soul according to him, although somehow he regained a new body and a consciousness to return to the world, but not as a human. His second life started after 2 years of his death, as Demon King's son, the 7th Prince, Gilbagas. And the question rises, with his former soul intact inside, does he invade humanity as the prince of the demon race? He won't, but he will surely plunge the Dark Clan into the darkest age they have ever seen. Moreover, he will enrage the civil war among them to destroy their kingdom. Now the collapse of the kingdom shall begin from here. At the Demon King's castle's balcony, a woman is stretching and admiring the weather of today. Madame Plady seems to be early, and looks like she does not want to waste a single minute. She is ready to take her son to get a befitting demonic contract. Fluttering her hair, she believes it is Goy, aimed to be a good day for a flight. A few days ago, he was informed that this will be his journey to find a devil to form a contract with. So it goes out like that. There is a demon waiting for Gilbagas to seal a contract with him. Seeing the sun is about to set, he thinks that his mother has lost her mind, to which she clarifies that the definition of early means mid-afternoon in her previous life. There are a lot of differences between humans and demon races, including time perception. With pride, Gilbagas believes that he is getting used to it, especially when being a 5-year-old demon. Otherwise, it was hard at first to grasp the concept of time here. As he recalls the time when Sophia brought a wake-up dinner and wished him good morning, even though he can see that the moon was lit up, but still Sophia kept saying that it was morning and this is his wake-up dinner. He still does not understand the concept even now. As they proceed to get ready, he realizes it is his first time to get outside the castle in this demonic body. Then he thinks that if only he did not need to go to the devil's nest. It's here. Spotting a dragon from above, he thinks it is white, but then believes that those have red copper scales. She tells him that it is a wyvern. As the dragon lands down, someone calls out to the queen and tells her to go ahead. Bewildered to see this, Gilbagas spots the dragon with his head laid on the ground. Plady asks him that it is his first time riding a wyvern, so he will see how fun the ride is. Furthermore, she shares the information about a prideful race among the demons, and the name of that race is Dragon Race. Understanding that the rumors he heard before is true, they are willing to be treated as a mount. Moreover, she tells him that under the Demon King's castle, there is a dragon egg hatchery. Therefore, it happened when the Dragon Race, after being defeated by the Demon King, pleaded their loyalty to the Demon Race. But the Demon Race was not satisfied, apparently by the time they took control of their hatcheries. In short, the dragons here are the hostages from the hatchery. Pletty shows Gilbagaeus the vast mountain range, where she points that this originally belonged to dragon race. After being defeated by the demons, their habitat was stolen with their eggs becoming hostages. They had no choice but to let the demons do as they please. Looking over their condition, he tries to control his wrath by expressing nothing. He believes that rather than loyalty, it is more like they cannot resist any longer. Seeing the dragon growl, he thinks it could be discontent. As they heard, ruling the seven skies is originally the turf and privilege of the dragon race. But if the demon takes control of the dragon race and takes advantage of their defiance, they might be useful for something in the future. Closing his eyes, he thinks that it's possible only if they have something equivalent to these dragon hostages. He says he should take note of this because he cannot think of anything at the moment. A voice calls out to Platifia, saying that it must be painful to go while the sun is still out. Turning to her, Platifia was wondering who it could be, but it is her, Lazariel. She is surprised to see and asks her if she is here to send her off. Glaring at her, she says that she is not here to see you. Looking at her son, she says that she is here to see the son you are proud of, because it might be the last chance to do so. Perceiving his mana, Gilbagaeus thinks she may be looking for a fight when her magic interference is right off the bat. Seeing how she talks to Platifia, she seems to be a consort too. Probably she is also a mother to another prince in this castle. Reading the situation, he then replies that depending on my response, things might turn in one way or another. But then he decides to answer with an equal force. He tries to counterpose through this mana, which Lazariel flips aside like it is nothing. What an unlovely child. Lazariel asks Platifia that taking him to the devil world will be cruel for someone so young like him. To which she replies in confidence that he is her child, so she knows he can take it. But she informs her that to another consort's son, it is indeed cruel. Giving a death stare to Gilbagaeus, she hopes he makes it home alive, asking her mother about who was her, to which she mentions that the mother of the first Prince Iogias. She has a problem where she cannot sit easily unless she has the best of everything. What a depressing woman. Seeing that, he replies that she is the same mother. He asks if she has a problem with him going to the devil world. She believes that she was here to scare him before their departure. However, she describes that the spirit is reflected in the devil world, where matter is vague. Moreover, states that if someone enters with anxiety, they will end up losing their way back, but she believes her wisdom is too shallow. At this point, she starts bragging about how her son is the best of those lumpy weaklings. What she did by coming here is the display that she is scared and petty. Focusing on his eyes, she reminds him that he is a strong child. Isn't that right? Gilbagaeus, on his own, is sure that his mother either does not care about him or believes in him too much. Either way, he is at a loss that he does not know what awaits him in the devil world. But if he looks over the goal of defeating the Demon King, this seems nothing. Gilbagaeus begs his mother to not waste time and depart right now. She then says that she can sit behind. Commanding him to the dark portal, the dragon understood the assignment. Gilbagaeus regrets not sitting behind to savor the last lingering scene. Platifia expresses that this freedom is the best, and he agrees. Further on, she asks him how his first flight is going and replies it is comfortable. Proud of his son, she pats his head. Irritated by his mother, he asks her if she must do this. He remembers the time when he wanted to ride a dragon as a human and the proud dragon declined. Seeing how he is riding a dragon now, it feels really different. In the context of flight, she adds that she has flown at a much higher altitude before. Or she believes that wyvern breeds are better at flying high, but the flight with white dragons is rough a lot. He then tells his mother that he is enjoying it because it is not as shaky as I believed it would be. That is why he is calm even for the first-timers. Work like a charm, sound like a pro, and you will be a pro. She compliments him that she expected this from him, and pats him even more. Moreover, she shows him the land of the Beastmen Kingdom over those circular wooden structures. Seeing down at them, he figures that they do look similar to humans, but they are being used as slaves. Although this land is now reigned by the demon race, so the demons living here are the feudal lords. Further on, she tells him there are not as many demons as there are other races. With that, Gilbagaeus understands this is how demons rule the land they gained from wars. They reach the destination where the dragons stop at the door to the castle and they swipe down. He is amazed to see that it is in the middle of the city. Platifia tells him that from here, they have to go by foot and the dark portal is just a bit further. Horrified to look at the city that unfolds in front of him, looking at the place, she elaborates that this place is called Cosmo Lodge because it is made for the devil and demons together. Waking ahead, this is where she states that the devils get their body used to the world of this side. However, she believes that it also serves as a motel for the relatives of the demons who enter or wish to enter the devil world. Finally, she says that they have arrived at the destination. Spotting a black hole, Platifia points at it and tells him this is the dark portal they were looking for. Bewildered to see something like this, such blackness, he thought it could be a dark spot in his eyes. He perceives it like a hole made by the droplet of splattered ink on the scenery, so dark as if God forgot to fix it when drawing the world. As sweat washes over him, he believes that it is not something he imagined before. Instead, it feels entirely unknown to him, so he is convinced that there must be another world behind this. He says, "Let's go," but Platifia reminds him that it is not her trial, so she is not going. Turning to her mother, she explains that she cannot go any further because she has already received too many devils in her soul. To elaborate further, she tells him if she goes inside again, she will not come back. Also, Sophia has warned her beforehand, so Jilbagais needs to go alone this time. Therefore, she articulates that she has no choice but to wait for him outside and believe in him. But this is his first time entering the devil world, and she tries to be emotional. Before that happens, Jilbagais bids his farewell and runs toward the dark portal. His mother calls out to him. He turns around with an annoyed face, remembering how intimidated she was when she entered the dark portal for the first time. She is impressed to see him so calm at this time. She comes to him and holds his shoulder and asks him to listen to her. She elaborates that there are two types of devil, one who seals a contract as a starter with an imp and one who forms the contract with an archdeacon right off the horse. She pats his head and tells him he will find the one he needs the most while searching for a devil in there. Got it. He bids his farewell and goes inside the dark portal and vanishes inside its blackness, trying to stay intact in this child's body. Jilbagais almost forgot that he is a demon and not a human being. He then says that he is Jilbagais. He is floating and sinking inside the portal as if he had drunk a very strong wine. With his eyes closed, he is sure that he is in the dark portal where the devil resides. Jumping into the dark portal and leaving his mother behind, Jilbagais enters the world of the devil. He keeps on floating inside, ready to meet the devil he needs the most. As his mother suggested, he will find his way back after signing a contract, only if he is calm. However, on arrival in the devil world, he is surrounded by the trees on the ground. Adding to that, he spots a dark sun and the red-crimson sky of the color of blood. Further, he notices that the light seems to be black, but it should not have been bright. Strange to see this world has its own rules and regulations, but also nature's laws are flipped over to the other side. The light being black, but sure is bright enough, or should he refer to it as dark? Bewildered to see trees and black light, what is more that awaits him further ahead? He adds that the appearances are simple but hard to identify. As he walks further, he finds himself to grow smaller and smaller, and the anxiety is coming to gut his chest. All of a sudden, someone calls him from behind. Turning around, he is startled to see a cane wearing a tailcoat. However, he finds it pretty strange to see how he was behind him. Jilbagais asks the cane who he is, to which he replies that it is nice seeing him here. Further, he mentions that he is his guide who is called the Devil of Guidance, Odegos. Moreover, he says that he is happy to see you and introduces himself. But it is the second time he by mistake introduced himself as Alexander the Hero. Quickly correcting himself, he tells the guide that he is Jilbagais, a demon prince. He believes that he got distracted by his appearance. Focusing on the dark aura of this demon, he commands himself to not be absent-minded and try to focus on where to find what he needs the most. Then he asks himself if he needs this the most. Jilbagais trying hard to read the devil's mana, but unfortunately, nothing passes through his head. He notices it is no use that he cannot get any information from his strength or shape, even if he is looking at his magic power. However, he clarifies that he can utilize the sound of reflection to navigate through it. As soon as he tries that, he feels like the sound in this case is being reflected back to him. Holding his ears shut in pain, he believes that it is coming back in an explosive manner from all the directions. He notices that he can sense the trees in the ground, but not his magic power. He is sure now that he cannot get a grasp on it, because he is stronger than anything. The cane guy believes that Jilbagais is an unusual visitor. Well, after the stunts, this tiny kid pulled by dramatically closing ears and glaring at him for several seconds. It is normal to think that. But the cane decides to do his job by guiding this visitor regardless of what he does to him. He further gives his hand to him and tells him that he will point his way for him. With that, he shouts that the path must be revealed before them. With a thud, the cane falls to the ground as the wind decides which direction this young traveler must take. As he raises from the ground and pats the dust off of him, he points at the direction he fell. Dumbfounded, Gilbugais thinks it was stupid of him to do it like that. He questions his abilities, to which the guide tells him he must trust in his guidance. So he tells him that far beyond the horizon where the dark sun rises, if you follow through this, it will be the end of the West. Thinking about this direction, he asks the guide what awaits him there. The guide tells him he has no clue, either because it is not in his range of authority. So the destiny is his, he must look for it. With a gloomy face, he parts ways from the cane and thanks him. But as he is about to leave, the cane repeats the same thing as his mother did, to keep his goal in his mind. Thinking about his goal, he believes it will take centuries to be done. He wishes the cane a nice day and walks ahead. As the dark sun shines bright in the crimson sky, Gilbugais is certain about this goal in defeating the Demon King and destroying the Demon Kingdom. He desires for the power to annihilate the demon race from history, and he believes he will get this power for this purpose one way or another. So trying to speed up, he notices that the scenery is changing around him as he thinks about fastening his speed like the first Demon King. Captivated by the Devil World's capabilities, he sees mountains in a moment and the rivers the next. Further ahead, beyond the caves, deserts, and seats. Plus to the west where the Devil World began, and to where the black sun rises and shines. Well, he wished to speed up but did not know the god here would listen so fast. Meanwhile, he notices that it is an ancient stone-made palace, but it is also slowly decaying. Roaming around in the ruins, he believes there is no sign of anything around here. Touching the stone monuments, he believes that they are gravestones. Walking into a hallway and spotting a huge door, so he believes that this must be it. His time has come now, face to face with the devil of the ancient palace. Gilbugais opens the door further as the door creaks open, but he finds another huge door which he creaks open, and another, and so on until he bursts with frustration. Annoyed by it, he bursts loud, asking how many times will be enough to please the devil. He commands that enough is enough now. Finally, he enters the throne room with excitement when he finds out that the scenery is not the same as the past 20 times. As soon as he enters, he spots the devil far away relaxing on the throne. But Gilbugais is shocked to see a woman's body as a devil. He thinks that devil would be a hideous-looking creature ready to seal the contract. But this is different with him. He believes that she is too small to be called a woman, but calling her a child is not okay because she is too bewitching. The devil yawns as he looks at the visitor. Glaring into the devil's eyes, who couldn't care less about this guy, he tries to perceive her magic prowess, but in vain. He asks himself if this is the devil befitting me. While that's happening, the devil asks the visitor, as a human, "Why are you here?" Dumbfounded, Gilbugais tries to stay calm and asks her what she means. Startled to see she cracked his code, she laughs like a mad woman on her throne. Tearing due to laughter, she tells him it is plain obvious that there is a human here standing. Shivers runs down his spine as his cover is blown by a single devil. Furthermore, she shows him the mirror with a snap of her fingers and asks him to look at himself. Unable to grasp what is happening to him, but he admits that it is him. He commits that it is his true self in the mirror. As soon as he sees in the mirror, his body changes back to human form as Hero Alexander from the Ruan village. However, the devil asks him who he is and why he has come here. Looking behind trying to find the way out, Gilbugais cannot seem to find the door to exit. The devil laying on the throne smiles and pities his situation, but she sure is entertained on getting a new toy. Afterward, when he is trapped, she jumps on him asking if he was trying to escape. Seeing how he is keeping the silence in this matter, she puts a curse on him that the silence is taboo. Therefore, Gilbugais introduces himself as human, by telling his name as Hero Alexander of the human race. Realizing his mouth moving itself, he gets scared, but he continues talking. Further ahead, he tells her that he is now the 7th Demon Prince, Gilbugais of the Demon race. After he says he was defeated by the Demon King, he was reborn as a Demon King's son. Asking her to stop the curse, he coughs on the ground. The devil understands that this is a reincarnator, but this is her first time seeing one lively with an intact self. Gilbugais, on the side, is trying to get hold of himself by putting his fingers in his mouth. He tries shutting his mouth from further exploiting his plans for the future of the demon race. But his mouth is no longer his, but the devil's possession, and she will make it do as he pleases. Although the devil girl seems to be pretty excited in finding a reincarnator in the midst of regular demons. It looks like it is the right entertainment she has been looking for a long time. Twirling, as he tries to hold his mouth close, she further investigates his situation, asking him various questions like, should not he be devoured by the cannibal's curse after he was defeated by the Demon King, Golgia's Olgi? Twirling again, she explains it is possible that Cannibal was not able to digest your soul completely. Looking at the raging war, after devouring so many souls, the cannibal has to get a tummy ache at some point. Demon or human, we all take a shit eventually. As she tries to notice him from every angle possible, whereas he keeps his mouth shut, he finds him very tenacious. After a while, she stands up and honors the human race by telling him that one should never underestimate his race. With that, she asks him further about what is his goal in coming here, that too at such a young age. Giggling at his miserable condition, she puts another curse on him when he tries to stop his mouth. She further places that the obstruction is taboo. His hands come down immediately as he looks at them shaking. While that's happening, he further elaborates that he took advantage of this reincarnation as a second chance in order to defeat the Demon King. Moreover, he tells her that his horns grew enough to enter the devil world, and all he seeks is strength to complete his goal. Damn it, not gonna lie, treating himself like a baby for 5 years doesn't serve this guy right. 30-year-old man, trapped in a 5-year-old body. It took the devil a second to laugh at his disguise. Standing before him, she watches his eyes boiling in fear that he might have lost everything again. Despite that, she notices that he is looking for a rebellion against the demon race and his king. 5 years, Alexander says that he has endured this to be caught so easily. Recalling back, he remembers feeding on the cooking of the race who killed his mother, father, and Claire, his only childhood friend. As well as he was always surrounded by the enemies who helped demons destroy his only homeland. Till this day, he always believed that if he kept the truth to himself, there would be a chance of his victory. So far, he managed to do it until now to be exposed by the unknown devil at this place. With that, he thinks that it is not a good way to end this all. Now that he has spilled everything, he asks who she is. Rising like a true devil, she turns around to sit on her throne to introduce himself as Antindixis, the devil god of taboo. As Jolbagais looks at the book of the devil god of predation, he thinks this is a disaster for the human race if the war keeps raging on. The path that the first Demon King walked upon has led to the demise of every other race there is. From Beastman to the elves, from goblins to humans, there is no doubt that he was not alone in this affair. This book is the sole proof that he sealed a contract with the devil, Cannibal. So for each soul he retrieves, he will offer some to his devil. By the way, intrigued by the history of demon and devils, Jolbagais asks Sophia if the devil gods and devils are relatives or they are superior to one another. Shocked to see him ask such a question, she starts laughing while trying to hide her face. However, he finds her amusement a bit embarrassing for himself, and he asks why she is laughing. She screams blasphemy while asking him to never say that again. Shivering like she is frozen to -20 degrees, she exclaims that it is blasphemy to compare the devil gods to normal devils. Terrified to see her act like this, she further elaborates that to call them their relatives is even worse for devils like her. In the context of devil gods, he remembers reading that they are strongly bound concepts for a single devil. As compared to the normal devil, the devil gods are terrifying beings that transcended the zenith of authority and the apex of power. Seeing how many devils are under the reign of them, they certainly rule the devil world as one of the pillars. At the same time, Jolbagais understands that he has finally come across the devil god he has learned so much about. He asks himself if this is the devil he needed the most, as said by his mother and a Cayman. To see how the Candyman drove him straight to the devil god himself. Is it because he was onto him, or that it was his destiny to be caught here? But now the devil god of taboo, Antindixis, is sitting before him. Although he thinks it is awful, he regrets comparing them with normal devils. Moreover, he believes that their problematic nature and wickedness surely cannot be compared to the normal devils. Furthermore, he notices that it is utterly terrifying how she is able to see through him. Seeing him on his knees before her, she asks what she should do with this pitiful human. Recalling what she has learned about him, she repeats that the former hero of humanity, Alexander, is burning with revenge. Further on, he became a demon prince of the demon king that killed his human body, and was reborn with a new face, yada yada. She exclaims that it is a very big deal. Laughing at what she can do with him, she tells him what could happen if she exposes you to the demons. Giggling while thinking about it, she believes it will be interesting. Alexandra begs her to not do it or else his 5 years of struggle would not mean anything. Deep inside, he struggles to think what he can do at this point and how to get out of this situation. He is focusing on thinking of something that can turn this devil god's head towards his goal. Sitting on the throne, she decides that upon the agreement made by the cannibal, they shake hands in cooperation with the demons. Making a sorry face, she tells him she has no choice for him. Alexander stands in front of her with a wide chest, daring to confront her position as the devil god. Moreover, he asks her that if she is one of the devil world rulers, how can she be so obedient to what a mere demon's wants or needs? He states that as if they are demons' puppets or suppliers, then why they call themselves devil god? Okay, this guy just hit the nerve of a devil god. Not even sure what kind of a lord can save his ass from the whipping of a devil god. Meanwhile, furious to hear a human making a fool of the devil god, she states that she will be damned if she obeys the demon race. Enduring her magical presence, the room gets heavier as she gets even more furious. She commands that they are only respecting the agreement, and the demon are the ones to come pleading for strength. Although she does recall that due to making agreements with the demons of the world, the devil world feels more lively than it has ever been. Grateful for the magical power that flows here when the demons respect the agreement nicely. Furthermore, she elaborates that it is the duty of the ruler to ensure the plentiful domains. She leans on the throne when she is done explaining it to him. Thinking about how she looks bored sitting on the throne, he suggests that he can cook something up for the devil god. He says that it might be more interesting than exposing him to the demons. Furthermore, he insists because he can see it even though they just met. Moreover, he informs her about the beautiful palace that is decaying even with plentiful powers. Trying to see what he is cooking up, she asks if he is trying to be her contractor, because that would be just boring self-defense. Further on the context, he asks what kind of contracts befits her moods, and she tells excitingly that the ones who break taboos, also mentioning not those which are half-booked taboos. So he stands tall before the devil god, exclaiming there is no one more befitting to be her contractor other than hero Alexander. Determined to get her to his side, he elaborates that he is the hero of humanity who fights the dark clans to protect the oppressed. Even then, to save his throne as a demon prince. From now on, he must leave behind the innocent people and run over them like they are stepping stones. So he explains that he will cut them off for his last goal and kills the one he needs to protect. Now this way, the taboo will break in the process of completion. Although he has been thinking over it for a long time, and he guesses that it is certain to happen anyway. Meanwhile, at the same time, he is the demon prince. Hence, someone who inherits the demon king's legacy and devotes himself to the kingdom's benefit, and even then, all he will bring is destruction. Walking up to her, he reveals that he will stomp on the loyalty to his subordinates, but also the siblings of this body. He promises to bring down the bloodbath of his parents' flesh. Born as a demon prince, he will bring down terror to his own home, where he stepped foot in for the first time. He will be the traitor of the throne, who will bring the demon king, Golgius's reign to end and destroy the kingdom. Therefore, to the devil god of taboo, this is the biggest taboo that can be broken. Realizing what he just said, over the past 5 years he has grown feelings for them. The people he lived with for 5 years, including his over-expecting high achiever, Mother Platifia, who is waiting outside for his return. The annoying Sophia, who helped him figure out the demon world. Also, the night elves and the beast man's servants who have been kind to him for so long. He states that he will be dropping all of them for his personal gains. Moreover, a demon prince or humanity's hero. But by these hands, he will shatter all sorts of taboos. Standing so close, he pleads with the devil god, Antindixis, that there is no one more befitting contractor for her than he himself. She admits that there is certainly no one more entertaining enough than him. Even then, a devil god needs more than that to be convinced. Further, she asks him to offer something equivalent to a price that can measure up to it. Furthermore, she defines that there are 2 ways to make a contract with a devil. Either he gives away his magical power or gives something equivalent to the devil. Moreover, she adds that she is not as shallow as the cannibal, so she doesn't need his powers as offerings, nor his pitiful soul. The devil god challenges him to convince her with something more charming than these things. Therefore, he asks her to destroy the dark portal. She lost her senses when she heard him say such a thing. He explains that he does not know now how, but he will eventually end up doing it, so she must cooperate with him. However, she does not take him seriously and says that it is bullshit. But he tries to paint a picture for her by asking her to imagine when the dark portal gets destroyed. As a devil world's ruler, if she will be breaking the agreements, which will drag her status to the mud, she will eventually damage the devil world's supply of souls and powers, and the current devils will lose their way back home and fall in despair. Though he presents to her the opportunity to break the taboo to destroy the dark portal. Annoyed by this, she asks him that he wants her to be complicit in destroying the livelihood of the devil world by destroying the dark portal. Also, she exclaims that he wants her to damage the agreement with demons and torture the baby devils fallen in despair. Exclaiming as she sweats even thinking about it, she tells if she does it, her dignity and reputation will be dragged to the bottom of the mud. How delightful. Seeing her fallen into the trap, he thinks of her as a pervert. He asks if he should take this as an intact agreement. Currently proving his determination, she says that he surely scored a contract with her. Not just that, she informs him that his secret of being human stays with her, because she finds it unfair if he dies before she tastes her price. Gladly he made out of it somehow, she calls him a lively one. To elaborate further, she finds it strange that even though he was born into a new body, he couldn't forget his hatred for the demon race. She asks what he remembers from his old life, to which he replies he remembers everything clearly. Seeing him so confident, she asks him about the place he was born as a human. Thinking hard, he is unable to find the name of the village, but she then asks the names of his parents or any precious friends. He somehow recalls his childhood friend, Claire. Then she asks about the name of his mentor. Realizing how he forgot the names of so many people, especially the teacher at the orphanage, master of the order, and the instructor of the Holy Church, he says, Instructor Meralda. Shocked to see this, he tells her it is like there are maggots chewing his memories slowly and slowly. To which she explains that this is what she means by the soul that is tattered. Further, she elaborates that he was eliminated by the cannibal's curse, but thanks to his hatred for the demon race, his tenacious soul refused to perish. Although she says he survived, but nothing can fill the holes of his memories, and he should give up on retrieving them, because they will keep getting erased, and the hole will expand with time. She asks him if he still wants to keep the contract. Even if she says he turns down, she won't be so tactless as to expose his identity. However, he can still continue to live as a demon prince. Furious to remember, he exclaims that the day when his village burned to ashes, he remembers the vows of vengeance he made that day, and he demands that this is good enough for him to hold on to it. Seeing how he is determined to not back down, she then makes up her mind. She flies to his side where he walks to her close, ready to seal the contract with each other. They shake hands while their eyes meet, and that is how the devil god of taboo, Antendixis, seals a contract with the demon prince Gilbagase and the former hero Alexander. So finally, the devil god of taboo, Antendixis, makes a contract with the former hero Alexander, who is now a seventh demon prince, Gilbagase, ready to reign as the demon king next in line. They were about to shake hands, but he stopped in the middle to confirm something. He asks her that her authority as the devil god is to gain power by violating the taboos. She tells him that it is one way to say it, but that's not the complete definition of my authority. Excited that she has come across an amazing deal, she guesses that she needs to explain her authority. She now introduces herself as the Antendixis, the devil god who reigns over the taboos. For further explanation, she says that in the devil or the real world, if the taboos are violated, her power increases immensely. Not just that, her contractor such as he will gain more power as he violates more taboos. And as soon as he gets used to her power, he will create new taboos on his own. Bewildered to hear this, she tells him to be grateful if it works out for him. As she put the blinking taboo on him, for instance, he no longer can blink. She explains that it is the same as before when she made him talk earlier. A magic that pushes or resists an action. Understanding the capabilities of his devil god, he learns how strong she is, although he believes that the opponent's conscious level matters as much as his magic power on the spot. In the context of powers, he believes that it is a powerful curse that works without complex chanting or giving away any sacrifices. He notices the Antendixis' ridiculous powers, and that is why she is the devil god. As he thinks of tears, he notices his eyes drying out, and he complains to the devil to stop this nonsense. Teasing Gilbagase, she asks him if this is his limit, and she reminds him, the more he stops her, the more she wants to do it. Looks like the devil god loves inflicting pain like a sadistic waifu. What should I do? Trying to close his eyes, he asks her to stop joking now, although he points at her eyes that are dying out as well. She lets him know that she is also affected by this as much as he is. Tearing like a child, she explains that it is bad. Acting like a true demon prince, he tries to put breathing as a taboo to the devil god. They would both die if they tried this. She reminds him that as a god of taboo, she is more tightly bound to her rules more than anyone else. That is why she expresses that she finds his offer very enticing. Further, he asks that she cannot break the taboos by herself now, to which she conveys that she cannot for now. Though now coming to business, she asks him if there is anything else he wants to confirm before sealing the contract. he has nothing left to ask, so he proceeds to seal his deal. However, he thinks that although they are talking on better terms now, she still is a devil god. Surely, no one can say when her mood changes by a whim. Therefore, he makes up his mind to gather her strength enough before she changes her mood. Then he says that he will return to the real world. Breaking off, she remembers that she needs to make sure of something. She shows her a bowl saying this is his vessel. Then she asks how much she should fill with her authority. Thinking what to say, he asks her that the more the better, like he does not have a choice in this. Mischievously, she says that she was just asking in any case. Now the time has come where they shake hands. They come before each other and shake on the deal that just made, befitting their own hidden agendas. While this is happening, now both close their eyes together while they speak. She says in the name of the devil god of taboo, Antendixis, hero Alexander of the human race shall receive power. Followed by her, he is saying, in the name of the hero Alexander, devil god of taboo, Antendixis shall receive taboos. The contract now has been formed. She clenches his hand as she screams that it is too late. Alexander has fallen with the devil god, and he feels a muddy stream which focuses on the hidden principles of the world and makes it rotten. Though he notices that something frightening gushes in, trying to reshape and arrange him from the inside, tearing him up in new form. The dark muddy shadow of devil god explains that his soul is quite dried out now. She did not expect the vessel bowl to take more than expected. Rejoice. Despite her motives, she asks him to be happy for being the only one receiving such power from the devil god. He screams saying that he is grateful. Afterward, Jilbages falls on the ground, where the devil god tells him that she is not sure what he is now. A human, a demon prince, or even a devil right now. Coughing and trying to get a hold of himself, he asks what the hell is going on. He looks at his hands and complains to her that nothing has changed in him. Taking this into consideration, she shows him the mirror, and he is captivated to see how he looks now, hero of the humanity, Alexander in his prime form. Meanwhile, he is shocked to pinpoint his changes, including the devil god's skin, eyes, and demon's horns. Still concerned about his human form, he asks if this will affect his real appearance, to which she replies that it might just be a bit. Exclaiming in front of her, she tells him that it is normal while making a contract with the devil. Furthermore, she warns him to not enter the devil world next time. She states that if by chance he comes here again, he will not be able to return to the real world. Hence, he nods in agreement and is glad he doesn't have to come again here. When parting ways, he says that it is a pity, but it is time to go now. Sadly, she says that it is a pity. Moreover, the devil god is excited to see that she is going to the outside world after such a long time. She is looking forward to it. Sweating like it just rained, he asks her if it just sounds like, or if it is real that she is coming along with him. Dumbfounded by the question, she exclaims that she is coming after all. Moreover, he protests that a devil god like Cannibal stayed behind in the devil world. How can she? She assures him that it will be okay, just like sticking her fingers out. She taps on his chest, saying that in emergencies, she also reserved a place here to save the energy in advance. Spooking him, she made a portal to his chest, to hide inside. Bursting in fury, he screams that all is well, his ass. He realizes that this means that she will follow him wherever he goes. Stomping and jumping on the floor, he demands her to get out of him and stop thumping. Reminding him that they have arrived at the dark portal, he complains that distance in returning was goddamn long. She explains that the trips back then were made easy. He thanks Odigus, the canon, for guiding him when he arrived at the demon world, or else he still would be roaming around. Then Jilbages declares that they are now going back to the real world. Furthermore, he explains to her that as they arrive, they will meet the mother of this body, Platifia. He tells her that at any cost, their contract must remain a secret, or it would be bad for both of us. Moreover, he sheds light on the matter that if it leaks, it cannot entail what kind of mess will unfold itself. Hearing his terms and conditions, the devil god elaborates that these have two names, fortunately. One she tells is that the effects will be weakened or unless he exercises her authority by using his contracted name, Alexander. To say it differently, he can use it as a pretense that he contracted a normal devil. Now he thinks he gave away his name without thinking beforehand. In this case, he believes that rather than sealing with the devil god of taboo, he makes the deal with the devil of restriction. She slams the floor when Alexander compares her with the lowly devil. Sweat washing over her body, she falls to the ground and whispers that it is blasphemy. Enraged to see her on the floor, he demands to not act like that in front of his mother, Platifia. Something strange happens when he expresses that his power just increased. When he degraded the devil god, he broke the taboo and got a bit stronger. He asks her to come and let's go now. Excited to finally leave the devil world, she is looking forward to his acting as a demon. Looking behind, the devil god of taboo bids her farewell to the devil world. Seeing the sky of the real world, he is glad to see the sunlight in its usual color. He claims that it is weird since it has been a while he saw the real world before his eyes. After such a hectic journey, his body feels cramped. They reach outside the dark portal and look for Platifia. Spotting her on the table nearby, he sees her out cold. He calls her and tells her that he is back now, it is time to go home. As if the Grim Reaper possesses his mother's soul, she is having a hard time recognizing her own son. Trying to get a hold of her, he asks her that he should be the one asking that, and she looks utterly worn out. He tries to remind her of the only son she has, her demon prince, Jilbagase, staring as if she has seen a ghost, although she looks like one herself. She stood up, slamming the chair behind her. Directly without wasting further time, she asks the name of his devil educator. He exclaims Sophia, and then she asks who is the one he had his first fight with. He expresses that it is Sophia, and by asking the reason behind that, he explains he was not studying. Looking at her horrified face, he is sure that she must have shrunk a bit or something happened to the angle. Holding his shoulder and noticing him, she is sure that it is her son, Jilbagase. He shouts that he somehow has grown even more, and seeing that, she cries to finally see his son. Besides, the devil god counts that within the margin of error, while he refuses that it is not. Wiping her tears, she tells him that is what she heard in the inn, that normally people return in a few hours or day at the latest. But she tells him that it was only a few days for him, but half a year has passed in the real world. Platifia expresses that she was relaxed at first, but as time went by, she grew anxious to the greatest degree. When the mother of other princes heard of the story, they visited Platifia in turns. Trying to pay their tribute to her misery, they laughed inside when they came to mock her, telling that the youngest to enter the devil world has gone missing, and they teased her by asking if her son has arrived yet. So as time went by, Platifia went into depression and had her mental breakdown. Furthermore, she was unable to eat anything, and she kept on getting worse. By the night, she became insomniac, thinking about her only son out there, trapped in devil world. There was no longer a calm, peaceful place for her in the Demon King castle either. Near the dark portal, she keeps waiting for the arrival of her son and praying for his safety inside. That is how she spent her year, waiting for him. Telling the tale of Platifia after his son went to the devil world, they have reached the inn she is staying at. Looking at this scene, it gives a gangsta vibe when a son brings back home a bad girl as his girlfriend from the trip. So as she notices a girl beside him, he goes on to introduce her as Ant, the devil of restriction. Again, she thinks it is blasphemy to compare her with a lowly devil. Suspicious of how she acts, he finally tells her that he made a contract with her. Observing her son from afar, she does believe that his magic power has increased more than ever after sealing the deal with Ant. Moreover, she asks if this is an upper-rank devil because she looks quite unique. Looking at her being so weird, he tells his mother that indeed she is a high-ranking devil. However, she asks what is her authority, to which this smart guy replies that he cannot tell due to restrictions. Evaluating that it is capable of putting restrictions on himself, it reeks of a binding-type magic. She is proud of him for achieving a great contract for the first time. Well done, Jilbagase. In the context of Devil World, the next time he goes inside, she asks him to find a devil around him, so that he does not scare her again like that. Emerges comes right to him, muttering about how this little boy got some ass-kissing skills to get to daddy's good side. He wonders if that's his mommy's advice. Both of them glare at each other in pure disgust until the servant swoops in to call for Jilbagase. This breaks their intense tension and on-the-spot staring session as the servant lets him know that the king is waiting at his office. Having the last look at him, Jilbagase takes his leave, whispering that he would let this jerk bark right now. With such a sharp, penetrating gaze at Emerges, Jilbagase swears to rip this dude apart in shreds along with his so-called family. While Emerges bites his lips, Jilbagase loathes his existence and his eyes. Later on, he joins his father after apologizing for making him wait here. After taking a seat, Golgius demands his utmost attention to keep him company, so he can get a pretty good look at how the Demon King works around these walls. Although this is his plan for sure, he doesn't get why it is so intense here. All of a sudden, Jilbagase takes notice of the commotion outside the door, where someone shouts to form a line. He watches his father mumbling his introduction under his breath like a weird dude. Suddenly, the clock strikes 2 and the chaos enters the vicinity of the Demon King with countless races, wreaking havoc with their list of documents to address affairs. They are handing in reports from the front line, reports about clashes between elves and hobgoblins, and a gazillion more. Shaken to his core, the lad spots the whole room overly filled by these ugly creatures. 2 hours later, the Demon King checks out how Gilbagius is doing while his hand shivers to take a sip of the tea. Without further ado, Gilbagius jumps a mile high in excitement to root for his father's amazing job, as he likes his father to suffer. Although the Demon King looks like he is sucked dry, he is glad to know Gilbagius is having a blast here. Ever so casually, he believes that his father needs to draw a line for how much he can take this. He asks if they are not putting a buttload of work on his father. Honestly, even compared to the human ways, the administration and judiciary are totally rotten and immature. Not to mention, Gilbagius points out the fact that most of these people come from a different race, and a few are demons. So this gives an idea to Golgius that this dude gets how crooked this country is. Thus, he bluntly mentions that to grow, they just cannot resort to taking from others forever. With the demons all biased towards might, Golgius finds the military might not be enough to make his kingdom prosperous. Hence, he gets the reason why his people must get into cultural activities that look weak, which would lead to less paperwork and government affairs. The tension grew as Golgius recalled the dark times of the past. Even his cup cracked at this point. From the moment he inherited this throne and the Demon King's position, he felt that the whole kingdom was drowning in corruption and embellishment. He recalls his hard time cleaning up this kingdom by firing a ton of officials. He has been on a rant about how the inferior races take their jobs more seriously as compared to the demonic fowls. He is a bit worked up about the newer generation that isn't at all different from the recent decades after putting aside the good-for-nothing older generation. After nodding in silence, Gilbagius sees the problem here, and he is smart enough to change the tides around here. Although Gilbagius got a nice idea, he isn't helping this jerk of a demon. Thus he asks his dearest daddy to continue to be savage with muscles as your brains. The Demon King, despite liking his son's response, sees him to be a bit of an odd duck. Not only that, he lets him know that Eogias and Rubithia in his place would have died from boredom in an hour and would have left. Suddenly, he slides a drawer to look for something, and he mentions that he would like to gift him something to raise his level of enthusiasm. After gesturing for him to come forward to his table, Golgius hands him the diary, a gift from the Night Elves that might help him in his studies. He explains how it got a nice texture to it as it was retrieved right before he was born. Now is the time for another story as Golgius recalls the time of alliance with the White Dragons, who unleashed an assault on the Demon King's castle. Gilbagius gets jolted to hear about the Demon King's castle assault operation. Among those, Golgius remembers the forest elf Saintess who was successfully taken alive, while the rest were massacred to their deaths. That's when he drops the bomb, revealing that this notebook is built fresh from that elf's skin. The very idea of this diary made Gilbagius' skin crawl, but he vows to cherish this diary in his safekeeping. Although the Demon King happily mentions that they can carve out even more if he likes it, he drops the news that the forest elf Saintess grows one heck of a quality skin. Newsflash for him, he explains how the Saintess is living as the hostage at the Night Elf's residence. Knowing that the forest elf is still alive, Gilbagius is eager to know everything a little more in detail. Later on, he runs into Sophia, who passes down the message from Lady Platifia. She reveals that the lady had to rush into the emergency room to take care of the soldiers suffering from terrible injuries. However, she is dying to know every little thing that went on in there in detail. Come to think of it, Gilbagius would want to know if anything serious is going on, but Sophia asks him to chill. Other than that, he mentions his siblings being a total pain. But he would like to know if there are any records about the Demon Prince's battle history he can take a look at. With a loud sigh, Sophia makes a run for it to gather all the records just to meet up with him later in his room. Afterward, Gilbagius sits down and rewinds what has gone down, as it all resulted in success. Just then, Aunt mutters that she had her fair share of concerns there too. Upon asking, Aunt bluntly states that Demon King Golgius is a total powerhouse, as the odds of killing him are pretty dire, but not entirely impossible. However, she explains that there will be a million taboos and suffering coming along that will lead to the Demon King's demise. During this whole thing, Aunt casually assures this little dude that he might get a solid chance at stepping on the fourth demon's rotten body. Aunt's words send a surge of excitement and anger after his sudden reunion with Emerges, which made this little prick realize that he better get stronger really fast. Cutting to the obvious, he got a good idea that plenty of taboos need to be violated to reach that peak. Not only that, Gilbadias admits to polishing his combat skills and magic. Moreover, he whips out the diary to show it to Ant. That's when he drops the banger that he knows someone certain who is the owner of this skin the notebook is made out of. Thus, he sets his mind to meet up with the high elf saintess Liliana and save her. A trip down memory lane as Alexander recalls his past life to the day that he might never forget. So it all went down at the defensive front of the Elven Forest. The leader announces that it is time for everyone to catch a break and take a chill pill. Moreover, he commands the soldiers to utilize this precious time to regain their strength. There, Alexander spots a really good view, so he decides to relax right here. Just when Alexander whips out his lunch and grabs a good bite, a lady in a cloak scares the crap out of him. This creepy lady demands to know if he is one of those heroes. Thus, she begs this soldier guy to whip out his magnificent magic of the human race and show off his style. He is sitting still for a moment, checking her out as to what kind of being she is. There he gets a good look at her, figuring out that she is a forest elf diddling around here. With a loud sigh and his yummy bite hanging in the air, he only gives out a sense of disgust by looking at her. The lad mumbles about tripping into this crap all over again. It turns out that elves were originally pretty private about their lives, living in a closed vicinity away from any eyes to prey upon them. Although he recalls that plenty of them reached the end of their long lives without ever making contact with other races whatsoever. But the time drastically changed history when the war against the Demon King's army dragged on and on. Due to the growing bonds of alliance with the humans, the young elves have this nasty curiosity to sneak out of their village to see the humans in action. A lot of those dimwits would constantly do every possible thing to annoy the soldiers on duty. Not to mention, those brats would sneak in to steal their lunchboxes and bentos and mess with the lot for fun. With a sigh, Alexander promises to only do it one time and then she should head back to where she came from. All of a sudden, Alexander, the overgrown fool, feasts his magical power and draws a glowing flower in the air that totally blows her pretty little head. She is over the moon to see the unique magical power of the humans firsthand. Upon asking if the little miss is satisfied by the display, he gently asks her to go back right away. But this crazy chick comes as a bolt out of the blue to drop the banger that this might not be enough for her as she is joining him today as her comrade. Now that's a surprising event. After that, this forest elf starts dancing in the sparks and twinkles of her own magic, which totally blows his mind. He is whacked out to see the elf entertaining this buffoon on his lunch break. All of a sudden, she swoops in closer to his face and he is taken aback by the ferocious speed of this wicked elf. She then blows his face, asking him to keep quiet and not utter a single word. Out of the blue, he is shocked to his wits when a surge of powers runs through his spine and to his body. The lad cannot grasp this feeling to get what the heck is even going on. That is when he notices his vigor is coming right back up all of a sudden. Just then, the elf mutters that this is how she thanks this clumsy dude for blowing a magic show for her. In a split second, this lad felt this sudden magic washing through his body was actually the torrent of life. All of a sudden, the fast-blowing wind of the day rustles through the leaves as it blows away her cloak and her cover is blown. Glimmering golden hair, so a blonde with golden eyes filled with curiosity as this elf got tan skin that's rosy and lustrous. Thus, she introduces herself as Liliana, the so-called saintess, sent down by the Holy Tree Union. Aside from that, this sugar plum calls Mr. Hero's attention to ask what his name is. So that is how he got to know the forest elf, Saintess Liliana. After knowing this all, Ant has a gleam in her eyes about this Saintess Liliana being skinned by the Dark Clan ever since then just to make notebooks. She can't help but wonder if this is all a coincidence. The same notebook that he was familiar with in his past life had fallen into his lap after being reborn in the Dark Clan. Even then, Gilbadias wonders if she is even alive. A sudden knock got his attention when a maid declared herself as someone named Ving who was there to pick him up. Upon entering, she gives her blunt introduction as Ving to Visanasti, servant of the Demon King Castle. This moron says sorry for disturbing her chores, letting her know that he will also be in her care, though she is honored to be of service here. Moreover, this crazy chick would like to gossip about the remains of the imbecile assault team. She craves to spot that disgusting state she is living in, as she is darn impressed by his words. She hopes the 7th prince would love the look of that disgraceful creature, high elf, in the most pitiful state. That said, Ving lays down the path to the northern outskirts of the Demon King Castle, wrapped by the stone wall to cut off from any sort of sunshine. She explains this place to be the Night Elf's residential area. Jilbageus figures that Liliana is held captive in one of the prisons underground. He recalls the first time he sneaked in to take a look, but was forced to get out of there right when he reached a specific cage. Later, Ving tells the lad to enter, and his jaw totally drops to the floor to see a starry sky. This moron is dumbfounded to see such a thing would exist underground, and it's so darn lively. After taking a closer look, Jilbageus confirms that this starry sky is actually coming out of some kind of pearls, while a bunch of kids ask him to play with them. Suddenly, Ving mentions meeting with some guy, Shidar, after this. She explains how Shidar is part of her clan and manages the things around the prison here. Jilbageus gloats that he picked the right girl for this, and this just makes her super blush. He notices his young charms are pretty useful against the woman around here as usual. Afterward, Jilbageus meets Shidar in person, who jumps a mile high to witness the 7th prince's presence. There he meets Shidar Tuvisanasti, the Demon King Castle's prison inquiry officer. When there's no need for greetings or compulsory introductions anymore, Shidar is not looking to waste any precious time with Lord Jilbageus. Thus, Shidar takes these two to the prison gate and guides them on the path to see the Night Elf's renowned prison. Shidar whispers through the gate, telling the dude to open the door from the inside. A few sounds of chain rustling through the door, and the gates have been opened. After getting a good look here, Shidar cracks up to mention how these rock-solid gates of the hellish prison are so tough that an ant can't find her way out of here. Jilbageus hears the ear-piercing cries of the prisoners and their screams of torture deep in the cages. Shidar apologizes for such a noisy string down here as he lights up the path to the Night Elf. Moreover, Shidar explains how their Vasanasti clan uses these grounds as their special education center. Further on, he lays out that the youngsters of the clan study here how to chop up, butcher, and torture the prey in different styles. That said, they have finally arrived at the final destination point as Shidar points at the gates. Without further ado, Shidar shows his deep respect towards the 7th prince, Lord Jilbageus, for coming down here all the way from the royal residence. He shows his gratitude from the bottom of his heart for witnessing his existence. Without wasting the prince's precious time, Shidar invites Lord Jilbageus to where the High Elf Saintess is. Guiding to the VIP room, Ving steps inside with a lantern to show Lord Jilbageus the pitiful face of the High Elf Saintess Liliana. His eyes falls upon this naked piece of flesh torn to the most disgraceful way possible. The forest elf with the glimmering golden aura he recalls from his past life is completely vanished, and nothing remains but the breathing flesh of a corpse. Shidar gloats about their massive research history that led to this masterpiece of a woman turning into a squealing, drooling pig. He goes on and on about the horrors she has faced throughout the years, from burning her flesh to drowning. Moreover, her endless sucking of blood and throwing her to the hordes of goblins for fun. Later, they end up peeling off her skin like banana to make diaries for His Highness. However, Shidar likes the part of chopping his limbs the most. Jilbageus suddenly shuts the lad up, asking why he would take such horrific measures on a woman. He breaks down the ice, telling her that this is all necessary to stop her from using magic to escape these tunnels. Just then, Shidar stabs her guts and the blood pours out of her, revealing that her light magic reeks of powerful healing mojo. Vane throws the light, and Jilbageus witnesses her regenerative ability to heal her injuries in a short time. Moreover, he also reveals that her limb would always grow back like some wicked plant just when they drop the hot iron, although he recalls this pig to plan her escape right after stopping her regeneration. Shidar recalls the lives of 5 people losing that day. Out of the blue, he smacks a gut-wrenching punch to her face, screaming about the dead that lost to the light magic that day. He claims this ugly pig massacred the lot and burned them down, but ended up being caught again. Back to his cheerful spirit, he explains the reason why they all seal her movements like this to prevent her from escaping. However, he must add that this alone isn't enough to control this pig, which is why the rope comes in handy. Shidar explains the ropes around her neck keep her airway and carotid artery under pressure by supporting half of her body weight. By using this method, he states that her brain is constantly in a diluted state of confusion or blurry. This way, it helps them not to worry about her this much and takes their eyes off of her. Not to mention, this Twinkie cannot even use her eyes to see them eye to eye, let alone use magic. Further on, he points at her bladder, which just runs the stream down like a pipe with zero control. About keeping her magic in check by torturing the heck out of her all day long, but they don't cut corners like this. However, Shidar gets all flushed and red, psyched about their 7th year's discovery, when the torture sort of became repetitive fun. Jilbagius' eyes are like a tiger about to slash his throat. Shidar swiftly blurts out that their torture techniques are super fast at causing suffering in the shortest time possible. Although this creepy dude never calculated that the high elf would stand this long of horrific tortures. Not to mention, their torture schemes were running out of the crazy creative stuff. All of a sudden, Shidar showers Lord Jilbagius with an endless opportunity to take advantage of this. Thus, he throws the idea that he better think of a more torturing technique to use on this pig in Lord Jilbagius' style. Sweating bullets like crazy, Jilbagius mutters what happens if he cannot come with any. With a full smirk, Shidar mentions going about the routine while maintaining the status quo. Thus, he is in full spirit to continue the research. Upon asking, Jilbagius learns that these creepy jerks are looking into her regenerative abilities that come straight from her light magic. Not to mention, it is all poisonous to the Dark Clan. He reveals that this absolute power is even inside her bodily fluids. Moreover, he adds that the Night Elves feel the sting on their skin just by touching it without any projection of sorts. However, this bunch is looking to put it to good use without any side effects, regardless of the High Elf's will. They totally believe that this elf is their property. Shidar gloats about their ongoing research on brainwashing techniques. With magic or drugs not being as fruitful, he puts down some of the suggestions that are to split her head apart. They bet taking the insides out might help the research progress at a faster rate. Jilbagius, with his sinister laugh, believes the very reason they didn't have their way with her is because of the poisonous light magic. Just then, Shidar's soul gets the ick just by thinking about doing it with the Saintess. His brain gets a 1000-volt shock as he barks that sleeping with a dog might be more fun than that. While Jilbagius sees Shidar fall apart at this disgraceful idea, he politely mentions that he would want to give it a try. This completely blows their minds, hearing that their lord has stooped so low to mingle with this pig. On a causal note, Lord Jilbagius explains how his overgrown body has brought a new sense of awakening desire that Shidar might understand. Though this little dude has nowhere to vent it out, he hopes Shidar can get his wishes. Shidar is facing the true horrors down in the chambers for the first time, as he hopes this isn't real. With seductive allure, Jilbagius hints to Shidar that he can literally destroy her from the inside out. Shidar breaks apart, screaming that the 7th prince must not do this. Out of the blue, Ving erupts like lava that she is letting Jilbagius serve his precious first time to this pig. Not to mention, she bets that Lady Platifia will torn into pieces after hearing what her son has done. Using his power rightly this time, Jilbagius demands to know that he cannot get around with women unless his mother gives permission. He demands to know if this crazy chick means this. Trembling in the fear of his presence, Ving takes back what she barked out. All set and done, Jilbagius pushes these two out of there. Shidar, on his last breath, screams that this pig is super powerful, but Jilbagius asks if this lad dares to judge his magical resistance. He kicks those two out and calls Here, who happily bounces to his side. With her sparkly, cheerful presence, she states that she is ready to witness literally everything. After that, Shidar screams through the door that he must not loosen up her ropes on the neck. Now those two numbnuts out of here. Anne tells Jilbagius to start this, hoping she gets what they are about to do. With the exceptional Night Elves guarding this whole area, which is a total dead-end prison, he figures the only entrance and exit are guarded by heavy locks and magical enchantments. She has taken notice of this dude right from the very start when he asked her for help. She recalls him asking for her help to kill this high elf saintess. With a nod, he states that it is time to break down the second taboo as the hero. Without wasting another breath, he whips out his blade given by Platifia to finally murder Saintess Liliana and let her soul rest from now on.